Yo, what is going on, Sofi investors? My name is Jason, and I'm here to break down what the heck is going on with the markets and what's going on with Sofi stock. Just how low can Sofi go? There's a lot of macro headwinds, man, between the convertible notes that we just issued and World War III being on the horizon with Iran attacking Israel. These things are not good for investors. When there's a bunch of crazy crap going on in the world, stock markets around the world will go lower. Just how long will they go lower for? And how low do I think Sofi can go? Real quick, before we get started, if you guys can do me a huge favor, smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. We're right around 600 subs right now. So we're getting closer and closer to that 1,000 we need to get monetized. And I'm about at 3,000 watch hours, another 1,000 to go. And I appreciate you guys so much for tuning in and watching my content. It means a lot to me. Thank you so much. Let's talk about Sofi. We hit 713 today. We're down 2%. If you look over the last month, we're still up 3.5% over the past month somehow. But it's been a not great year for investors in Sofi. We're down over 25%, down $2.58 per share. Anytime a company announces convertible notes, there's what's called a delta hedge, where people are going to hedge against the price of the stock and put pressure on it to go down. It seems like some of those delta hedge people kind of got out of their hedges, because we went from 23% short interest down to around 16 and 17%. So that means those short-term shorts are out of their short hedges, which is good for the overall price of Sofi. But in the short term, we're still going to see negative price action because of the macro environment. On the positive side of things, if we take a look at Charles Schwab, there's patterns with this stock with earnings, right? We have one here, 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 and here. So we always run up into earnings. So 2 weeks from today, we have the earnings for Sofi. In the morning, which is a good thing, usually when companies announce before the market opens, it's on positive news. So that's a great thing moving forward. But as you can see, where all the E's are, so there's an H up here. That's the high of the stock in the past year. The L is the low. Behind that H is another earnings, right? So every time we run up into earnings, once earnings are announced, it's sell the news, and pretty much it's either right away or a few weeks afterwards, the stock plummets back down to earth. If you look at this 1 year chart, we're pretty much trading in a range from around $6.50 to around $10. So when I trade my cover call options, there's something called a Bollinger Band. And that band kind of goes, where does it go low to? Where does it go high to? And this way you can kind of gauge when you're selling out your covered calls that you're pretty much safe in that $10 range, no matter how far you trade it out. How long will that last? We don't know. But once interest rates get cut, and that's another headwind we're dealing with. Inflation was a little bit hot. I mean, 0.1%. Everyone was making a huge deal out of it, but we were pretty much in line with consensus of where they thought inflation was. So I think over the next few months, we're going to see inflation ticker down a little bit, and that'll be a good thing for the market. As Sofi investors, we're dealing with a lot of headwinds between the convertible notes, World War III, and a hot inflation reading. I did a short where I was like, if this inflation data is hot, we're probably going to go to 750 down to the 730s and maybe even lower. And that's exactly what's played out over the last week and a half. Sofi is a little bit predictable, right? So I do think, depending on whether or not, if Israel attacks Iran, then this negative trajectory for the stock market is going to continue probably for the next several weeks. But if Israel does not counterattack Iran, then that'll be a good thing for the markets. And hopefully there can be some peace in the Middle East. It's such a shit show over there right now. It's not looking great. And hopefully the United States and our citizens don't get involved in an overseas war. If they want to kill each other, that's on them. But I don't want to see any Americans die in another country's war. I don't really want to get political on this channel, but you have to take into consideration these macro events. And unfortunately, war affects the entire world. Even if it's in a country that's not directly associated with our country. One of our allies, Israel, is being attacked. So that's going to translate to negative sentiment in our markets. That's just a part of it. You got to figure out what's going on macro and micro with your stocks. But remember, these type of things are short-term things. Unless we go to a full-fledged world war, these things will be in the short term. And then we will get more positive news as time moves forward. There's one thing about wars. They don't last forever. And this war in Ukraine and Russia, it's already been 2 years. So these wars won't last forever. They could last for years, maybe even a decade, but they won't last forever. So we have to, as investors, take all these different things into consideration and know that a lot of this negative price action on SoFi this year has been by macro headwinds. The one micro headwind being the convertible notes that we didn't know that was coming. But in the long run, that's a good thing because we have to pay way less. SoFi is saving around $10 to $15 million per quarter by resettling this debt. So that's a good thing. So I think our EPS is going to be very good. I think we're going to smash earnings again. So I think maybe the bottom for SoFi is around $6 in my opinion. I don't really see us going much lower than that unless something crazy happens. If war escalates in the Middle East, the bottom, who knows? It could go down to $5, $4 again. But if that doesn't happen, I think we'll run up into earnings, another $1.50 in price, maybe around that $8 to $8.50 range. And hopefully, because we haven't spiked up huge, it won't sell off after earnings. What I'm doing is, if it gets back into the $6 range, I'm going to start adding a little bit more to my position. But right now, around earnings, I'm not super excited about buying shares and having them, get sold out from under me again. So I'm pretty much standing pat. I bought another 100 shares last week after the inflation data. I want to see how this Iran, Israel, Gaza, Palestine situation plays out over the next few weeks before I start to make any moves. I'm just accumulating cash. I'm selling covered calls, taking that cash, stashing it away, and any stocks that I'm profitable on, like HIMS, I've been selling. Every 50 cents to $1, the share price goes down towards my price average of around $10. I've been selling just so I'm taking some profits. Now might be not a bad time to take some profits, guys. Let me know in the comments below, what are you doing with your SoFi shares and what are you doing with your overall portfolio? Are you selling covered calls? Are you selling some of your shares to get more cash heavy and kind of let this storm kind of settle? I'm kind of doing a little bit of both right now. I'm trying to accumulate as much cash as I possibly can. I got like $15K in cash on the sidelines just waiting there to be distributed into my favorite stocks. But I would like to get that between like 20 and 25 and really have some power if these prices drop. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We appreciate you guys tuning in as always. Thank you so much. Peace.